Good evening and welcome to the March 17th, 2025 meeting of the City of Tuscaloosa Planning and Zoning Commission. Any written comments sent to staff were forwarded to the commission directly. At this time, I'd like to introduce our staff. We have Jimbo Woodson, Deputy City Attorney, Michael Garner, City Engineer, Zach Pons, Director of Planning, Leota Coyne, Planner, Lily McIntyre, Special Projects Coordinator. There are 9 members of the Planning Commission, all of whom are appointed by the mayor for staggered terms, with the exception of the City Council representative, who is appointed by the City Council. I ask the commission members to introduce themselves and state their occupations, starting with Mr. Rumsey.
Stephen Rumsey, business owner.
John Smith, Deputy Director, Environmental Services.
Dina Prince, attorney.
Tim Harrison, general contractor.
Ann Hornsby, attorney.
Eddie Pugh, retired.
Bill Wright, business owner. There were sign-up sheets located outside for the public comment. 4 speakers are allowed to speak in favor of a petition, and 4 speakers are allowed to speak in opposition of a petition. All speakers will have the maximum of 5 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. Tonight's procedures: the commission will take up items in the order of our final agenda. The commission will initially receive presentation from the staff as to the details of the agenda item. Additionally, we may hear certain matters involving the same property, such as an annexation, a zoning matter concurrently, although we will take separate votes on each matter involving the same property. After the staff presentation, we will then call upon the petitioner to present their case. The petitioner will have a maximum of 10 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. At the conclusion of the petitioner's remarks, we'll then call on any party in order of sign-up who desires to support the petition. Thereafter, we'll call on any party in order to sign up that opposes the petition. When it's your turn for comment, please introduce yourself, state your name and address to the commission, provide your remarks, and stating your name and address to the commission. After receiving the remarks of those who oppose the petition, the petitioner will have the opportunity to respond to those objections. Any rebuttal will be limited to 2 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. If the petitioner presents any new information in response to the objections, the commission will allow those who oppose the petition the opportunity to respond to the new information only. Any response will be limited to 2 minutes unless the commission votes to allow a longer time. During the course of this presentation, you may be interrupted by any member of the commission for a clarification or additional information. Such interruptions will not reduce your time. Once the commission members are satisfied that they have received all relevant information, we'll then close for further discussion by the public, at which time the commission members will discuss the matter and then vote. After the vote, you are free to leave. These proceedings are video recorded and broadcast live. All in-person public comments should be made at the podium into the microphone. Jurisdiction: in all matters pertaining to the following items, this commission serves as the final authority. Subdivisions located within the city limits, subdivisions located outside the city limits but within the city planning jurisdiction, developments with a special district and approval letters for developments in the historic district buffer zones. As to all remaining agenda matters, including annexations, rezonings, planned developments, and street vacations, this commission serves as a recommending body to the City Council. In that regard, our decisions are in the form of a recommendation to be presented to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decisions on those matters. Subdivision approvals require the affirmative vote of 6 members of the Planning Commission. All matters which are recommendations to the City Council require a majority vote for an affirmative recommendation. At this time, I would ask, do any members of the commission have any conflicts of interest as to any agenda matters before us tonight? If so, please state for the record. Okay, having heard none, I would ask the staff to confirm on the record that proper notice has been given to all parties in interest as required by law as to all matters before the commission tonight.
It has.
Thank you. With that, we'll begin with the approval of the minutes. As the Planning and Zoning Commission has received the synopsis of the February 2025 meeting. I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the same unless there are any deletions, additions, or corrections. All those in favor of the minutes of 2025 February, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. With that, we will begin.
Good evening, Commission. Starting off tonight with the consent agenda, we have 2 items here. We did not have anyone sign up outside for these.
Does anyone care to speak or about either of these 2 consent agenda items? Having heard none, Commission, before us, we have 2 consent agenda items. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
All right, moving into our cases requesting to withdraw, we have our companion case here, Z0325 and S0525, that has been withdrawn. This was done prior to mailings, no vote is needed. Moving into our cases requesting to continue, we have S2125 through S2425. These are also requesting to continue. This has been done prior to the mailings, no vote is needed. And then we have S2825, and we have the petitioner here to request that continuance.
Petitioner for the Wesley Place Townhomes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Al Cavendish with Cavendish Engineering, representing Wesley Place LLC. We have been, this project was originally built as townhomes, permitted as townhomes, several building codes ago. So in meetings with staff, we've been, one of the ideas was to do a condominium conversion. The other idea was to convert it to a townhome subdivision. It was built at a time that townhome construction was a building code type, but it was not a subdivision process. So these are townhomes sitting on one lot, which of course is not allowed today. Some of the utility details and those sorts of things, staff was concerned about. This is better handled with a condominium, and we've been talking about that for about a month. So tonight I'm asking you to continue it. You'll see it next month as a condominium subdivision instead of a townhome subdivision.
Any questions for the petition request?
Thank you.
Commission, before us, we have a continuous request for S2825 Wesley Place Townhomes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right, Commission, moving into unfinished business, we have companion case Cedar Forest, that's GPD 0425 and PS 0725. Just to remind you, when you saw this petition in January, it was 80 single-family dwelling lots, 18 townhome lots, 1 open space lots at 3.6 dwelling units per acre. Now they're back with 80 single-family lots, 1 open space lots sitting at 2.95 dwelling units per acre. Just to remind you, we're here right next to Bowers Park near McFarland. You can see the property today is SFR1. Looking at the property today, there's some homes as well as some vacant land here. The petition is to rezone from SFR1 to GPD for the development of a residential subdivision. You can see that first piece here, this is to the north of 31st Street East, 71 single-family lots here. To the south of 31st Street East, we have 9 additional single-family lots and 1 open space lot. Just zooming in, moving from west to east, you can see where we touch Princeton Place. The lots are almost 100 feet wide. The standard lot in the middle is at 55 feet wide. Moving to the more central piece, where we back up to Cedar Knoll here, you can see the lots are about 75 feet wide. You can also see this stub street here. The petitioner is working to vacate that. It will not be connected in through this project. Moving to the south again, just zooming in on these lots, you can see 9 single-family lots, 55-foot width lot, and that is the standard for this subdivision, that 55-foot width lot. Again, looking at 2.95 units per acre. with minimum building lines of a front 20-foot setback, sides of 5 feet, and a rear of 20 feet, unless otherwise noted. Looking at the narrative here, again, 81 lots, 1 open space, 80 single-family lots at 27.1 acres, varying from a 1,300 square foot minimum, 1 and 2 story homes proposed here, 10 acres of open space with an HOA to maintain. Moving on here, see landscaping, 2-car garages with 2 off-street parking spaces, and trash to be stored in the garage. Looking at our elevations here, just some proposed homes for this. Also looking at some example floor plans for this development. Just moving through these here. These are all in the packet, so just clicking through those real quick. Next up, looking at the subdivision piece. Again, this is those 71 lots north of 31st Street East and South, with those 9 additional lots, an open space lot with contours. Looking at the same without contours. We do have a variance request for connecting to that stub street in Cedar Knoll I mentioned. We received, 12 public comments in opposition to this request. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering on the variance request for the Stub Street.
We don't have any objection for that.
Can you go back to the rendering that shows the south parcel? Go back, you had it right there. No, the south, there we go. So just for everybody's information, there's the 9 lots that are in the would you outline the open space that kind of goes to the, okay.
Sorry, I think this piece is left out. My apologies.
Has this only been continued once?
This was continued twice. It was continued first in January and then
Okay.
last month as well.
Any additional?
Can you remind us what changes might have been made?
Yeah, so in January, when you first saw this, they had 80 single-family lots in this northern area north of 31st Street East here. South here, they had 18 townhome lots instead of the 9
yeah.
single-family lots you see today. That open space, that element has stayed the same between the proposals.
So when it was originally submitted, it was a total of how many lots?
I'll have Mr. Pons check my math here, but 80 plus 19, so 98?
How many is it today? Is it the same number of lots today?
81.
81 today.
81 today. So these, okay. So the bottom 9 are part of the, okay. So they reduced the lots, 18 lots.
Correct.
And was the Stub Street at one point going to be connected?
That was the same request last time, that was to leave that Stub Street unconnected. They had the variance request submitted then as well.
But in January, was it? It was
Yeah.
it was never going to be connected?
It was never going to
Okay,
be connected.
all right.
But now the developer's vacating.
That's right.
What's the unit per acre on this proposal?
So overall, including north and south, both sides of the development, is 2.95 dwelling units per acre.
And what is it with just the northern part of 31st?
Yeah, with just the northern part, we calculated at about 4.64 dwelling units per acre.
Can you show me again what's going to be vacated? A part of the Stub Street. Okay, now, Mr. Woodson, all right, this will be vacated, I guess, after the point in time when the subdivision is approved? Or is the developer vacating it prior to? I mean, you know, when we vacate a street, the 2 adjoining owners get from the center line to their property. Yeah, so who's gonna hold title to that at some point? I mean, does the city give a deed to the adjoining property owners for the right-of-way?
The original property owner right now that owns all of the property asked the annexation while they still own all of it. That'd be easier for them.
While they
But
what,
won't
Jimbo?
that change?
Annexation while they own all of it, and then that's gonna be nice and easy for them.
But won't that change the configuration of the lots?
No, you can see here that the vacation is happening in Cedar Knoll, really in that
my
Cedar
bad.
Knoll
I'm looking down
subdivision.
here at, sorry, y'all.
So if they weren't proposing to do that, we
Okay.
would require them to connect into Cedar Knoll. But they're proposing with these two property owners here
Okay,
to vacate that so that they won't require that connection.
okay.
Any additional questions for staff?
I'm still wondering who's gonna get the vacated lot. just
That's,
for a sense of
I know,
information,
I
because
know.
You got,
I mean, you got
you
to
got
give
three
a deed
adjacent
to-
property owners there now.
Yeah,
How do you divide that lot up?
I mean,
It has to be split down the middle for the adjoining property owners.
But you got three adjoining property owners now, correct?
does,
I think it's only, so for the stub street out of Cedar Knoll, I think you really have only two property owners, lot 30 and 32, based on the map. Those are the lots that have street frontage for the public right-of-way. So basically, those two lots would come and meet in the center of the public right-of-way today.
So they have to have street frontage for public right of way to do it.
Right, that's, yeah.
but, I'm sorry, I know I'm taking up time. Does the city give a deed describing that property? Does it, or do they have to do a resurvey of Cedar Knoll showing that 30 and 32 now have what, 10 feet more each? I don't know how big that, how wide that right-of-way is. But-
The applicant will prepare a plat and a legal description for the portions of the right-of-way that are vacated to each owner. And it is conveyed by a meets and bounds
Meets and
description.
bounds?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Any additional question or need for clarification? Thank you. Petitioner.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Michael McGuire with McGuire and Associates, Division of GSA. I'm going to kind of follow through this the best I can, but we have made some changes to this, of course. We did reduce the development by 18 lots. The lots that back up to Princeton Place are now R1 in size. They're all 12,000 square foot, meet the width requirements. The only thing that those lots do not meet is the front setback requirement. The lots along Cedar Knoll, they're all R2 in width and size, and the setbacks meet those requirements as well. I did want to point out the sewer, of course, this whole site will be served by city water and sewer, but the sewer configuration will change, so that's one thing that I did want to bring up. I discussed with Mike, and he's aware of it. I did have a meeting with the neighborhood association, well, not the neighborhood association, but the neighborhood. And I've reviewed some of the comments from the neighbors that they sent to city staff. Kind of wanted to run through each of these. Property value was a concern. The developer states that the majority of the homes will range in size from 1,600 to 2,400 square feet, with a starting price range of $285,000 to $325,000. The homes will have modern trim packages and current up-to-date standards. He intends to build a nice home. All the homes will be single-family homes. No other use will be allowed. We did show a trail to the park to the east, and we have removed that. We will have a walking trail, of course, around the lake. One of the other issues and concerns was stormwater runoff. We're going to make the lake a detention pond, so the pre and post runoff will be one and the same. Traffic was a concern. We actually hired a third-person party to do a traffic study. There was no concerns for 31st Street. It was adequate. The intersection at McFarland is adequate, so we addressed those issues. We're improving 31st Street immediately to the west and all through our development as well. The density, I know that's going to be everyone's concern, but I was going to point some of these out. I've actually done a good bit of research on this. Pinnacle Park is 73 homes on 9.7 acres, 7.8 dwelling units per acre and 25-foot wide lots. Reston Place, now that was developed back in the 80s, it's 270 homes on 45 acres. That's 6 dwelling units per acre with 50-foot wide lots. Neptune's Cove at the Yacht Club, 143 homes on 47.5 acres. That's 3 dwelling units per acre. Towns North River is 452 homes on 160 acres. That's 2.8 dwelling units per acre. And they even have some 30-foot wide lots. I believe it's pronounced Brixton, which was approved last month. It's 144 homes on 57 acres, and that's 2.5 units per acre. Of these that I've pointed out, 3 of them are actually above our density requirements. 2 are actually exceeded by double. If you stop and think about this, I mean, this is actually 80 homes on 27 acres. If all the property was easy to develop, you could get 80 to 90 homes as a traditional R1 development, or 100-plus homes if you did R2 development. R1 allows 12,000 square foot lots, which is 3.63 homes per acre. R2 allows 9,000 square foot lots, which is 4.84 homes per acre. That's Princeton Place to the west is R1, Cedar Knoll is, of course, R2. I just wanted to point those things out. I mean, we have gone to a good bit of effort to try to meet with everybody and get some of this worked out. If y'all got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. One of the things I did want to point out, if you go to the towns of North River, or if you go to High Grove or any of them, and you pick out a little square box around the most dense area, it's going to exceed this probably triple. So to say that it's just the fact that not all this property is developable. Some of it's in a special flood hazard area, which of course you can't develop. So we were trying to make do with what we have as far as property and topography and make best use of it. As far as density goes, I don't feel like it's really anything out of the norm that the commission hadn't approved in the past.
I want to ask something just for my clarification and understanding. Yes, you've got 27 acres, but I don't know how many acres down there are undevelopable because of the floodway and the floodway fringe. And I appreciate all of your research. But if we took let's just assume that you weren't proposing it as whatever the new initials are for what used to be called a plan unit development, G something, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten used to the lingo yet. But if you didn't have this, if you only had the property that your lots are drawn on, what would the unit density be for just that acreage?
No, I mean, we're required by the subdivision regulations, we own all this property.
Oh, I know that. But, I mean, it just seems like that's not necessarily to me that you're comparing apples to apples. Because you're using the whole 27 acres to figure your density. And I know that's what you get to do if the plan unit development is approved. But, and I'm not saying it's skewed at all, because I do think, you know, the surrounding subdivisions are comparable lot size wise. But I don't know, am I interpreting something wrongly?
You're saying that the numbers are skewed because he's dividing the number of houses, including acreage that's not developed.
Right.
But on
And
all
that's what
sites,
you- and
don't
that's
all
what you
sites
get
have,
to
Yeah,
do.
that's the
don't all
towns.
sites have pieces that aren't developable
Yeah, that's
because
the
of
towns of
something?
North River, High Grove, Brixton that you had here last month has some really tough terrain as well. So, I mean, it's the same, exact same thing for just about any of those I mentioned.
So the answer is yes. The answer is yes on
Yeah. it
every,
just-
every month.
I guess it just makes it sound better when
Well,
you're, when
that's his
you're
job.
putting in
And
the
that's-
total acreage.
That's the case with the towns of North River and High Grove and Pinnacle Park. Well, Pinnacle Park's, I guess, an exception to the rule because it's a really dense development.
How many, just how many acres are not developable?
Actually, this property on the south side of 31st Street is developable. You can build in the floodway fringe. You
Well, how
cannot, I'm sorry?
Whether you can build in it or not, how much acreage is not going to be developed?
I think we have 10 acres of open space that we were dedicating as basically leaving it natural, building a lake.
This is only 10 acres?
The total project's 27.1. The south that we're not developing or what we're leaving as open space is 10 acres.
Okay. So you're developing it on 17 acres?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but we can develop the property south of the road as well.
This project is going to be built on 17 acres. Is that kind of what you're getting at here?
Yeah, that's platted, right, where the, yeah.
And
Thank
what,
you.
what I was trying to say.
Last month, I told Michael I thought the drawing looked dense. And he took 18 units out of it. I mean, so from where I'm sitting, he's tried to do what, at least one, I mean, that's what I asked. And 18 out of 80 is a decent,
20%.
decent number. I mean, I appreciate that part because I think it helps the neighbors, you know. I think they were upset about the density.
He actually took it from 18 to 9, correct?
I'm sorry?
No,
You actually took it from 18 to 9 because you took away the 18 townhouses.
but
We had 98 lots initially, and we took it to 80.
Down on the south side of the 31st.
But I mean, there's 18 less buildable units than you drew in the first one,
In the overall project.
right?
Yes, that's correct. I mean, what I was trying to point out was the open space area on the south side of the road. It's not that of that 10 acres isn't developable. Really, probably about 2.5 is not developable. We're just not going across the creek and developing what they call the floodway fringe.
And I understood that. What I was trying to get at was, I think, what Ms. Prince is talking about, which is how the density feels on the space that's being developed.
Mr. Pons, if this was two projects, the 9 homes to the south and the however many to the north, the northern part, how much too dense is it? Because it looks to be like it should be two projects, because it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. This don't match when you got a big piece of land and you can only build on a little, but we letting them use it all. It's like giving them, okay, you can count part of McFarland Boulevard because you front it. You can't build on it, but you can count it. So we letting them count property they can't build on or not willing to build on, so they can get 80 homes or something in a small area. And when I looked at the drawings or whatever earlier, and it showed 4 cars at the drawing of the house, how you gonna get out of them cars? Crawl through the windows? Because they so close together, it didn't look like the doors would open.
And it's a standard width garage. It's
Well, we have,
standard width.
can't have that. It's still
we
on.
certainly have a
Right there.
reputation for proving
55
such.
feet. 55 feet wide. And
been
you
doing
got
it
2 cars parked in there, and
And again,
my parked 4 motorcycles there.
you have lots in towns of North River that are 30 feet wide, High Grove 45 feet wide, 50 feet wide, 55 feet wide.
We've got new stuff we just adopted through framework and stuff, and just because we've done something in the past, that don't mean it was right. So now's the time to try to do things right. It's
Well-
too dense to me on the northern side.
Mr. McGuire, you said you met with the neighbors,
Yes.
and did you meet with their neighborhood association?
Now, Mr.
Representative.
Ward, lives in Princeton Place, he and I kind of got together and discussed it by phone. He set up a meeting, and I met with a good many people. There was a pretty decent crowd there.
All right.
Any additional questions for petitioner before we call up those which speak? Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, first person to speak is Ms. Sheila Walton.
Name and address for the record, Ms. Walton.
My name is Sheila Walton. My address is 3018 12th Avenue East. I live within the subdivision of Princeton Place. Okay? Can we look at the developer's south side first, please?
Be sure to
Thank you.
get in the microphone really close so everybody can hear you.
Thank you so much. The south side where the pond is. Thank you. If we notice here on the south side where the pond is, let's see if I can make this work. Well, actually, the floodway is a creek. That creek has, it is on the FEMA list and is listed on the FEMA's map. The developer doesn't show that it's a blue line. It's actually a blue line creek, which means that there's water always within that creek. The question is, how would he be able to get the drainage across into the so-called lake or detention pond? Now, the features of a detention pond is it has to have a spillway and it has to have an inlet. And it's different from the definition of a lake. A lake does not have an outlet. A detention pond must have an outlet because you have to meet certain storm events. And in order to meet that storm event, is it fills the detention pond, the water sits there until the next storm event comes along, and then it pushes the clean water out and allows the new water to come in to be treated. Now, with that said, we do have issues with flooding in our area, and the water does cross the street, and it enters into the creek, not into the detention pond. Can we have number 3? Yes. This is a FEMA map. It shows the flood zone, and the striped lines are the creek. That is Creoles Mill Creek. And then the area around the creek that you saw, the green area is the effective flood zone. And you see the existing stream crossing. The blue line there, the lake, okay. The lake there that is shown that the developer is going to use, it starts over to the left side and it flows downstream across under Hargrove Road, and that water never reaches the lake. There is a stream crossing there, and the water continues to flow downstream under McFarland Boulevard. So what we see here is the developer does not have really the option to get that water across that stream into the lake. The creek is about 25, 26 feet wide, and there is water within that creek. And it's always, since it's a blue line, that means there's always water within that creek. Can we go to the next one, please? Thank you. Okay, what we have here is a projection of the blue line creek there, the existing stream crossing, and the water flowing downstream under McFarland Boulevard. We can move forward. And of course, the detention pond, and you see where the creek being 25, 26 feet wide, and then he has conveyances that is expected to bring the water from his development across to the detention pond, so-called. That's not an option. It's not an option because of Creoles Mill Creek. Next one, please. Next one. Okay, this is a video of the creek to show you the situation in terms of the width of the creek is below the lake. So how do you, since the elevation of the creek is below the lake, how do you actually get the water into the lake? Okay, the next one, please. I'm sorry. Can you see the? Okay.
I have a question before I interrupt your time. So where,
Okay.
go back to this, where is this video taken from on the map she just had up there? Just so we. everybody
Okay, this video?
Right, so where are you standing? Is that the lake? I'm assuming that was a lake?
Yes, I am standing on that existing stream crossing, looking down at the creek.
Looking down.
And you see the two pieces that's going this way? That's the crossing. And one area is going to the right, showing where the water is flowing downstream to cross back farther and on out to another stream or to a,
So is the pipe that we're seeing running under that crossing?
yes. Yes, can you show the first video? You will see the pipe, yes. Yes, can you see the
Pipe
pipe?
down the far right?
Yes, there are two 54-inch pipes under that crossing. Yes.
You say he's unable to meet what he's saying that he's going to do, and that is get the money
Absolutely.
get the water. There's not enough
It
money
would
in
not
God's
make it-
green earth to get the water from over here to over here. Is that what-
Yes, it would not make it to the lake or the crossing, the lake or the detention pond. And again, a detention pond has two essential features. There's nowhere to put a spillway, there's nowhere to put an inlet. And not only that, again, the creek is so deep and the bottom of the creek is well below the pond. So how would you actually get those two conveyances to deliver the water to the lake?
And before you get a permit, then you've got to look at this and make sure water runs downhill from one to the other, right?
Yes.
Mike? I mean, is that, no, you. In other words, I mean, if we look at a drawing and it says this is a retention pond and the water's gonna go flow to here, then we've got to trust it.
If she,
Yes.
based on what she's saying, there appears to be a significant challenge as to accomplishing what the preliminary plat indicates.
I guess my point is we can approve something that, like the chairman said before, we're not experts, we're not engineers. It gets to the next level when you issue a land development permit, and if you don't think water can go from here to here, then you don't issue that. Is that right?
So I agree with that. This board is not here to solve design solutions. It would be up to the developer, engineer, to solve this problem or solution. There are some ways to do it. It'd probably be expensive, and it's going to probably require some core permitting, but that's not what this board needs to be basing their decisions on.
Yeah, the whole purpose of my presentation is to show that the developer has not disclosed existing conditions there. The existing condition is that there is a creek there. The existing condition is how are you going to build? He has conveyances showing on his preliminary map that he's going to do that. And as a resident of the Princeton place, there's already issues with stormwater as it is, and now the developer
Ms.
is.
Walton, I will say our time is up. The 5-minute time is up unless the commission votes to.
No, I think we've got a really good feel for what you're saying. We appreciate your efforts. So let's hear from the next person. The petitioner will have a chance to answer to us some of your concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Let's hear from the next.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, next person signed up to speak, Mr. Gary Ward.
Thank you. My name is Gary Ward. I live at 3033 12th Avenue East. That's part of the Princeton Place subdivision. I want to thank all of my Princeton Place neighbors and my Cedar Knoll neighbors for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm against the petitioner's request to rezone the property for the following reasons. Number one, the developers make the claim in their submitted narrative that it is believed that this project will provide a need for new housing in this area. I cannot locate any data analysis, or statistical information included with their narrative to support the claim. Number two, the density of the development in the petitioner's updated submission is only slightly less than their original submission in January. At the January meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I believe it was Mr. Rumsey who, in describing the density of the developer's submitted plan, said, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, "It looks like a cat could jump from roof to roof and never hit the street." Is that close, Mr. Rumsey?
I said it.
And speaking of roofs, if I were cynical, I would say in the revised plans that have been submitted by the developer, it appears almost all the roofs were left off the drawings this time to give the appearance of a drastic decrease in density where none really exists. Number three, all of the surrounding neighborhoods, including the two which share a property line with Cedar Forest, that being Princeton Place and Cedar Knoll, are currently zoned residential. According to Section 25-91 of the Tuscaloosa zoning ordinance, a planned development district should promote development forms and patterns that respect the character of the established surrounding neighborhoods. The proposed Cedar Forest GPT would drastically change the character and the look of the surrounding neighborhoods. I think Ms. Walton presented quite a bit of information about the potential for flooding, but I'd like to add just a couple of other things if I could. In a letter dated February 20th of this year from Mr. McGuire to Mr. Pons, subject revised drainage study, Cedar Forest, none of the claims made in that submission are supported with any data analysis, or statistical information. Now, without any of that information, it could only be concluded that any claims made are anecdotal in nature, particularly the claim about the post-development runoff being 148 cubic feet per second. This gives me no confidence that the developer has actually addressed these issues related to excessive stormwater runoff and the potential flooding of Princeton Place. In the notes section of the drawing, which shows the south side of 31st Street East, it states, "We are requesting to provide a detailed drainage report during the construction phase of the project." Well, I happen to think that may just be a little bit too late. Number five, the developer has not addressed traffic issues. Currently, 31st Street East is the only access egress point for Princeton Place to McFarland Boulevard, and it would be the only access egress point for the proposed development. The additional traffic of that proposed development will increase by at least 200% the number of vehicles using 31st Street East. AlDOT controls the signal light in McFarland Boulevard where it intersects 31st Street East. AlDOT does not plan to modify signal light times to account for a 200% increase in the number of vehicles trying to go through that intersection. My conclusion would be that traffic backups and delays on 31st Street East could be expected to increase by almost 200%. And finally, where it concerns safety of the residents of Princeton Place and the surrounding neighborhoods, there are three areas that I think the developer has failed to address. First, the developer does not plan to build any type of barrier separating the proposed Cedar Forest development from the Forester Garden Apartments. Forester Garden Apartments and some of the apartment complexes nearby already have a particularly high level of gun violence. In Princeton Place, we hear the gunshots, and we can look up in the sky frequently and see the police helicopters. The developer's planned walking trail around the lake is not described as to its construction and whether it will be lighted or marked. And finally, in a developer's updated submission, there is still a waiver asking for the developer to provide a trail connecting 31st Street East to Bowers Park. And this trail, if it is in fact built, seems to be an invitation for people whose only interest is to come to the neighborhood for the purpose of committing vandalism or property crime. Based on these issues, I would respectfully ask the commission to deny the petitioner's request to rezone the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Mr. McGuire, you have several issues that have been brought to our attention. You care to?
Yes, I'll try to, I guess, address each one of them. Number one, this is a preliminary plat. We're not in the design phase, and the numbers that we use initially, they are estimates. They're, and we take everything we can do to basically come up with stormwater runoff calculations from pre to post. But I can't think of any time that our pre and post runoffs have exceeded each other. So I feel pretty confident that we can do a detention pond. Can you put back the one that showed the south portion? 31st Street is considerably higher than the lake. And whether we go elevated across that creek or we go, I mean, we may even have to replace the 54-inch pipes. But putting a detention pond there and making it a wet pond where it holds water all the time is doable. Is it a challenge? Of course, but it is doable. As far as, I guess, everything else, I'm trying to remember. I apologize, I didn't bring a pen, so I couldn't write down everything. And we have gone to a great bit of effort to try to work with everybody. Again, I still say you can look at any master plan that's come before y'all in the past 20 years that's a plan unit development and isolate one area, and it is going to exceed the densities that we're showing. It's almost like it's kind of, I know y'all are saying it's unfair that we're asking for the density, but it's almost unfair that you're taking this one little isolated area. The property south of 31st Street is developable. I mean, you could actually, if you look at the floodway maps where we have the storm sewer coming across, that's not even shown as being in a floodway. So you could actually build something. You can also mitigate it. I mean, there's a bunch of things you can do to actually get across to the other side of the creek and develop it if you wanted to. That whole floodway fringe is developable. The floodway itself is not. So, our client has purchased his property. He's gonna do something with it. And I hate to see, I actually like the idea of the nature trail and leaving the lake, but if that goes away, that goes away. And as far as the trail going to Bowers Park, we can certainly leave that off. That's not an issue at all. We're trying to figure out something that works. And to develop it as R1 I'm just not sure that it's even doable.
Mike, the property's in the city right now, correct?
Correct. And I'm not sure how long ago it was annexed in, but that's kind of not fair. That property been sitting vacant.
Is the property, did the developer consider apartments on this property?
Well, that's what I was getting ready to get to. When he rezoned it, it came in automatically as R1. He annexed in. So, and a lot of these people get pressured to annex in, and they do because, the idea of this piece of property is sitting right in the middle of downtown. This is a perfect location for
I guess
development.
from my standpoint, I see the apartment complexes that are around there, and I would much rather see this as a single-family development as I would an apartment
Yes.
type complex. But it's certainly within his rights to look at that, correct?
Correct.
So, in that respect, I think this might be a consideration for the people that this may be better than what might one of the alternatives could have been.
Well, I agree. It's if you took the density of it and you pushed some of it to the south, it's not going to look so bad to the north. But what have you accomplished? You've lost the lake. You've lost all that area that we're trying to leave natural as a natural buffer to get to this project. No, we didn't offer to put a fence up along where the apartments are that are so bad. It's my understanding that apartments in the city is trying to address the issues with the apartment complex right now. If it's it's not approved, we just have to go back to the drawing board and come back again, something different.
Mike, Mr. Ward had mentioned the increase in traffic. You'd mentioned the traffic study was performed. Have you submitted that traffic study to staff?
Yes, we have. We actually got the, Skipper Engineering did the study for us, and they pull all the data from AlDOT themselves, all the signal information from the intersection at 82 and 31st. They analyzed the road, the cross-section of the road. And they actually did all this with us cutting off the right-of-way, to the north, because it would have actually been somewhat less traffic had we tied the two developments together or the development to Cedar Knoll.
Do you recall in that report, maybe you don't remember, staff might know, Mr. Ward mentioned a 200% increase in traffic. Was that what the findings of the Skipper report said? Do you know, Michael? Does staff know?
I don't recall that.
So it didn't speak to a percent increase. One of the things that I specifically remember in the report is the signalization at McFarland. The time for the intersection to clear 31st, the left-bound traffic or the left turn traffic on 31st is really the key movement there. You have a right turn northbound yield condition when the light is red. And the report basically said that the green left today is clearing the queue of the waiting cars. In most, is what the report said. They made no recommendation in their report for any improvements at that intersection.
Well, I don't think the neighborhood cares about the lake.
I'm sorry?
First in place, I don't think they care if you keep the lake or not. So my issue again is the density to the north. Make that one project and make the southern part a project two, and you can build all the houses that you're able to build to the south, and you meet their issue with too much density, and you meet the issue where you get more houses.
So we just do away with open space altogether in planned unit developments?
Do what?
We do away with open space on planned unit developments from this point forward, okay?
On this project,
All right?
it's just too dense. It's like Mr. Rumsey said, you step off one roof onto the other one. Cut out some of the houses in the middle and you might
So,
meet the density.
If it was developed like Cedar Knoll, R2, R3, I mean, we need something to go by.
Go with project to the north and project to the south, two different projects. You'll meet the density that that the planning department wants, and you won't be up here talking to us. You'll get what you want.
Are we even allowed to, I mean, it's supposed to be part of a master plan.
Well, it's currently zoned R1, so you just have to subdivide to R1 standards if you weren't going to rezone or do anything like that.
Well, it's,
Zach, just review me, because this is kind of new. You can use the GDP designation in any residential zone? It's RL, now, right?
So it's SFR1 today. And so that allows
Suburban residential, is that what that's?
single-family residential 1.
SF, single family,
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so that, because it's zoned SFR1, they can pursue a GPD, to rezone to a GPD, because it's SFR1 today. And that just allows them to do kind of what they're doing, where they can kind of cluster in some areas, leave some more open space. It's really designed more so for topography issues, or like Brixton was mentioned, there's clear creeks and things like that running through Brixton that were very undevelopable. And that was clear through that process to you guys.
And what is the current zoning on Cedar Knoll?
Cedar Knolls are SFR1 as well.
No, it's
Sorry,
two.
SFR2,
Two.
my bad.
Would be the old R.
So it's the old R2.
Old R2.
And then is Princeton 1? Is Princeton?
That one is our
lots are bigger?
SFR 1. So it's less dense on the western side, a little bit more dense on the northern side in relation to.
Well, I mean, this is kind of, I'm dovetailing off of Mr. Hugh. And I go back to this, you're not the only engineer I've said this to, I promise.
No.
But, we went through years and years and years and years of the comprehensive plan, and they've made recommendations. And I feel like I am not abiding by that when a rezoning petition comes up that is out of character somewhat, the surrounding property. I know what developers are faced with, high land cost, and they're trying to get as many units as they can to meet their projections or whatever. I understand that. I guess maybe I just take everything too seriously. I just feel like we have to consider everything. And you're right, we have approved PUDs from way, way back that are probably more dense than this. I just don't know what surrounding property, how they might have affected surrounding property. I mean, they may not have. So, I mean, this is a tough one for me. But,
Well,
I mean,
and
I see the value in it. I mean, I'm trying to see all these sides. I definitely see the value in it. I know we need housing in this price range, and you're right, it's in a great location. So, it's tough.
Can I ask for clarification from staff? What is this in terms of framework? Is this consistent with framework? I'm not sure I saw that.
Yes.
Clearly in the report I read.
Yeah, so SFR 1, I mean, it is consistent with framework. A GPD is kind of outside of the framework realm in the sense because you're using what the existing base zoning district is and kind of making it a little different by, providing elevations and going more in depth.
Future use map maybe is.
Yes, it does.
Be consistent.
It does conform to that. Yes, ma'am.
I read one time that the Japanese did not attack the United States mainland because the largest standing army in the world is American citizens. If I live over here, I want the American citizen between me and that apartment complex. I'd like to have about 100 houses, all with gun owners, between me and them. If in fact, what he said is true about these police helicopters. I'd like to have about 100 people with guns living between me and there.
I know everybody's wanting to move on to the next one, but I do want to say this. It's, if this is going to the general development, as it seems to be going to now, us as, surveying firms, engineering firms certainly need to know what merits that, because this is kind of in line with what's been presented and approved in the past.
Guess what, you're the first test case.
I know, always. But anyway, we'll go back to the drawing board and see what we can come up with.
Michael, and all PUDs aren't created equal, and they all
I
aren't
know.
equal. And now we're in the GPD world,
Yeah,
and some of the examples you gave, I think they're all different.
yeah.
I mean, we always call I heard the neighbors' concerns, we talked about waterfall. And they didn't want waterfall, but waterfall turned to be a great development. But it's also larger lots, they had larger homes, higher values. One of the concerns I think some of us have here is some of the size lots, some of the size houses. You can put a number out there, 285 to 325, that's fine, but is that reality? I don't know. And, we always hear about how it can negatively impact the neighbors' property values. And this is kind of in that area that I think that it does cause a little concern on that side, because I think some of these size houses are a lot smaller than the other examples you gave in the PUD world and now the GPD world. So I want that to be on the record. I think they're all created differently. Anyway, my thoughts.
Now, I'm just going, like I said, I studied a lot of this weekend, because I knew this was going to be a challenge tonight. But I mean, when you go look at garden homes now, or what used to be technically a garden home, 1,600 square feet, they're 250 to 350,000. It doesn't matter where they are.
It doesn't matter where they are.
So I guess here's where I'm at, and I'm you know, in the new world we're in, the new GPD world we're in, being the new test cases, I mean, we sent Mr. McGuire go back and redo this thing, and looks like he, on the peripheral, up against the adjacent neighbors, he did a pretty good job of matching somewhat sized lots that he's up against Cedar Knoll and up against Preston Place. He's still obviously trying to get his density in the middle. We as a commission have voted and approved numerous developments like this on South 69 in the past that were of more dense. I'm not saying I like this. I don't like dense. I don't like, as Mr. Rummer says, I don't like where a cat can jump across. I just don't like it. I know there's a need for it. I understand there is one. And so that's why in the past we voted. But if we've got to develop a new standard on what we're going to vote for, and this is it, I mean, we need to make sure that this is our litmus test moving forward. Again, I'm not saying whether I will approve it or not approve it at the end of the day, but if we're hammering on him on this, then the other developments that we've developed in similar places that are more dense, we've got to reset our thought process.
I don't think that I have, while I've been here, I know we discuss every time that sometimes these houses will come in next door, and maybe because the land seems, like you said, lots seem to get smaller and smaller. But with inflation like it is, it seems like I can't point to a spot where they actually hurt the neighbor. I mean, that it's actually hurt, that the values have hurt. I mean, I personally built some houses just a few years ago, and I priced the same house, priced the same exact house, the same builder that built them for me, double. I mean, everything's going up so much and so fast, it's almost hard to hurt your neighbor because what they built for and what they're selling for, of course, they've appreciated. But the new builder, whoever he is, I don't even know who this is, but whoever it is going to be up against a very tough and steep wall because of construction costs are just crazy. But, I mean, last time, and what the gentleman said before, Gary, I mean, it's true. I mean, but I asked Mr. McGuire, I think you need to cut some density out. And what I heard was you cut 18 out. Maybe I'm not seeing exactly where, but when we met last time, you're saying there's 18 less than there were. And that's what I asked him to do. So, I mean, that was my major thing. I don't like big empty parcels. I mean, but I understand there's probably the people that live next to this, there's probably half of them that do and half of them that don't. I get nervous about people. I would love an empty parcel if someone didn't have access to it from the other side. But this worries me because I don't want people, particularly carrying guns, that can get near my kids with a big empty parcel. That's me. So I don't like empty parcels like that. I don't like police helicopters either. So I don't like to hear that. So I'd like, in my mind, if I live there, I want 80 more people. There may be gun owners, living here. Now, whether it's 80 or 75 or 70 or whatever, we have to work that out. But it would make me doggone nervous to have an empty lot because this can't go on forever. Somebody will buy this and build something. And that's a fact. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right. I don't think anything new was brought up in his comments, so we'll close to public comments. And there are quite a few comments from the commission, but we want to care to make any additional comments before we start taking the votes on these two cases.
May I say something?
We're closed for discussion. Public is closed. So last call for any questions or comments from the commission members.
My big issue is the same thing I had a long time ago. We let developers and we let them do it. It's not their fault. We let them develop property that you can't build on. You can't build on that lake, you can't build on that creek, but yet we let them count it towards density. If you split this into two projects, and the northern part is one project, and the southern part is one project, which he keeps saying, oh, we can build on the southern part if we want to. We can build on there if we want to. It costs more money, but we can build on it if we want to. I want him to. Put it in two projects, let him build on the southern part as one project, and the northern part is another project. That cuts out on the density that concerns me.
But, Mr. Pugh, in reality, and I may be, thinking about this wrong, but if he still develops the way he's got it platted out on the northern part, without his acreage on the south, the density will soar. The
Will it
density
increase
on
that?
17, if you just use 17 acres, and that's your, divider, then that would increase the density as he has it platted to what? Zach? I mean,
So can you repeat the question? So the question is,
all right, he was saying if he takes away the southern part, south of 31st Street, okay, where the 9 lots are, takes that out of the subdivision, so that only the property north of 31st is included. And you're saying have it platted the same way with this?
I'm saying, what's the density become if you do the northern part? compared to where it is now?
4.64 roughly. 4.65 is that part right there that you see.
So see, it's almost doubled.
Right.
He would have to, I think in a perfect world,
But he wouldn't be able to build that.
yeah, because he
dense.
wouldn't get his exceptions as a planned unit development. He
Yeah.
would have to develop it, he probably would ask for us to rezone it to single-family 2 or 3, like Cedar Knoll is. And then you see, he could not get this many lots in that particular parcel.
Right.
So that's where,
The density would be spread between the two parcels, for sure.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but it would probably need to be more than just taking out the southern portion. He would have to reconfigure this whole subdivision to comply with either single-family 2 or single-family 3.
Any other comments or questions? All right, Commission. Have to make a decision on these companion case. For us tonight, we have GPD 0425 Cedar Forest. Requested rezone the 27.1 acres. SFR1 to GPD. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion?
Second.
Mr. Rumsey.
Yes.
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
No?
Yes. What was the vote on? 4-3.
Yes, 4-3.
Commissioner, for us, we have PS 0725 Cedar Forest, consisting of 80 residential lots and 1 open space lot. In conjunction with has one variance request, connection to the existing substreet. Engineering has no issues with that variance request. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hornsby.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
Take 6 affirmative votes to approve the subdivision. It takes 6 affirmative votes for subdivision rather than the simple majority of the GDP. So you'll need to state the reasons for the denial, those that voted against it.
Okay, and that would be on
The subdivision.
subdivision, PS 0725. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, the no votes need to,
The noes.
on the record, your reason for voting no. I think Smith?
Lot size.
I voted no because I voted against the rezoning, and if it's not rezoned, it can't be subdivided as a planned unit development and lot size, density.
Stenographer for that.
Push.
Okay. Mr. Pugh,
I agree with Ms. Prince. Sounded good.
is that adequate for Mr. Pugh to say that? Or does he need to be more specific?
I got it.
You got it?
All right. And on that, this cannot proceed because the subdivision was not approved.
All right.
Why don't we start with that one? If we'd started with that one.
All right, let's move into our cases to be heard, starting with an annexation request. That's AN
Ms. Coyne, real
0420.
quick. There's a lot of people in this room that are here for that case. If they would like to depart, now's your time to depart before we get to the next cases.
It's very difficult, I'm sorry. It's very difficult to hear, so I'm trying to figure out, has it been approved?
You kind of won, is what happened. You kind of won.
I just couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
You lost, but you won.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pons will tell you outside more about it. All right,
I want to hear.
no,
We need
They
to,
really,
we need to.
it's hard to understand, but ultimately they won because they didn't get to split. Most citizens don't know.
Still.
One half at a time.
Mr. Pons, can you assist those out departure?
Yeah, it's a better number, but it's not relevant.
30 seconds or so. I think we should be good. All right, Ms. Coyne, I think we're probably quiet enough. We can continue.
All right, we are moving into an annexation request in our cases to be heard. That is AN 0425. This is annexing approximately 2 acres located at 17097 North Hagler Road. You can see we're way north on the lake here. You should all be familiar with this request. It has come to you before, but that recommendation to annex has expired. You can see that area to be annexed here. They're requesting to annex into city limits for the city school system. This is in our future service expansion area. And here are our department comments from the city departments. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Did you say the annexation expired?
Your recommendation for it to move forward to city council had expired, so they're back before you.
Yeah, they have 90 days from when y'all approve.
Petitioner.
Yeah, when y'all do a recommendation of approve or deny, they have 90 days to get it to city council for a vote.
And they didn't get city council?
Right.
Okay.
I believe it's 90 days.
All right, petitioner?
I'm back. I'm Christy B., 4805 Leland Drive, and we're requesting the annexation for school choice.
You gonna get there in 90 days this time?
Sir?
You gonna make it in 90 days this time?
Yes, sir, I didn't get an email. Don't throw that off on me.
Sounds good.
We missed a piece of paper that didn't get turned in.
All right, thank you very much. Commission before us, we have annexation request 0425, annexing 2 acres at 17097 North Hagler Road. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, ayes have it. Welcome to the city again.
All right, next up, we have a companion case. This is at 6005 New Watermelon. This is an annexation and rezoning. So first annexing in 4.99 acres, rezoning then from SFR1 to GC. You can see we're just right of the dam here near McWright's Ferry Road and Bluegrass Parkway. You can see that parcel today, right off of New Watermelon Road. And zooming in on that area to be annexed, just to clarify, is this parcel here. The petitioner is requesting the annex for Sunday alcohol sales, sanitary sewer ties, and new construction of a C-store and several other businesses you can see here. In framework, this was identified as a primary expansion area. Here are our staff comments on that annexation request. Moving into the rezoning, so when annexed, you would be SFR1. They're proposing to rezone to GC, general commercial. You can see the property to the south is GC. Otherwise, we have some county properties and residential properties. Again, the petition's the same. This is for the development of several businesses. You can see that preliminary site plan here, just to clarify, this area here identified as boat storage, that is to stay in the county. They've not requested to annex that. We are looking at this property here tonight. And just to zoom in on that site plan here, you can see we have the C-store and gas station, some restaurants, a dog grooming, and professional offices. Here's some proposed renderings of what this could look like. A few more here. This is an example of an existing store, and another one here as well. For future land use, this area was identified as traditional neighborhood edge, so this plan does not conform to framework or with the plan. You can see that here, the traditional neighborhood edge, future land use. Here are our permitted uses in general commercial highlighted in the column here. We did receive 46 public comments in opposition to this petition. Do you have any questions for staff?
Can you go back to the map? I mean, you moved through that thing so fast, I couldn't figure out. I know that we did another one, what, a month ago, 2 months ago? I'm trying to figure out the relationship between these two parcels, and you kind of drove by it.
Right, so this property just south, this did come before you in October.
That's the one right there?
That's right, so they annexed and then they rezoned to general commercial and MFR.
All right, now where's the one we're looking at?
You're looking at this one right here, just north of
Okay,
it.
see, when you came by, I thought it was the red one. All right, that's the one we've already seen.
And what's the neighborhood across New Watermelon that's zone LR?
That's Lake Residential is the zoning.
MR1's the new order development.
Yeah.
Builder group.
But what's the name of the neighborhood? That's the LR.
You mean that?
It's not a neighborhood, I think it's just my
Just
house.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that just, okay, so that's just,
But it does happen to be like Lake Ridge or something like that. I think that's the name of
okay.
it. Isn't it?
I know, I'm trying to
Isn't
get
it
my
Lake
bearings,
Ridge?
so this is,
Coincidentally?
okay, so
nothing
this,
on
the
this
SFR below Hunters is Lexington Downs? Is this Lexington Downs?
Yes.
here?
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
We can ask the question of the petitioner, but the renderings we saw looked like they were a lot of pictures of existing locations. Can you go back to what was a rendering, I think, that one there, is that, okay, that's submitted by the petitioner. Okay.
What is, do we have, how does this one fit adjacent to the next one that we approved 2 months ago? Do we have drawings of that one?
This is what the one just south. So this is the property that they are requesting to annex and rezone. This is the Plots property.
Okay.
So that's kind of how they tie together.
Have they started on that?
Not yet.
No?
But we did require them to really, also the opposition, if you remember correctly, we really require a lot of renderings and drawings and.
Do we have drawings of that? Okay.
Can you go to the zoning map one more time? Or just wanted to see what was. All right, and this is Brock's, the MR1? And what is he putting there? Just their offices or?
Is it townhouse?
It is.
Townhouse?
Yeah, it's townhomes.
Was that permitted for townhouse?
Yeah, it was. Yes, sir.
Oh, kind of garden.
And remind me what OS is. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm
Open
getting used-
space, so that's
Oh.
Lake Harris, Harris Lake.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who owns that?
the city.
Have any further questions of staff? Petitioner?
And another point of clarity, just the dog grooming, or the Wizard of Paws, that's already there, that exists. It's still part of this development, but just wanted to clarify that.
Howdy.
Name and address for the record, please.
I'm Rick Mayers. I live at 6538 Waterfront Drive. I feel like this area has been neglected for goods and services. And with a population of 9,000 people that live out there, Vernon, city of Vernon, where I'm from, we have a population of 1,700 people. We have 3 convenience stores there. It's needed out there. I think an additional convenience store is definitely needed. This is going to be a big project. Everything else that we're bringing out there, as you see, Dunkin' Donuts, Domino's. These are services that are currently not available to that side of town. That's needed this for a long time, and I think that the demographics call for this type of development out there. We met with the mayor the other day about potentially moving over, and he didn't agree to this, but met with him about potentially moving over to the Pound to, possibly lease from there to give a higher quality for dogs. And the office buildings is something else. We have a lot of tenants lined up looking for professional office buildings. So I think this is a development that's needed out there, and I welcome any questions about it.
One of the things you might have heard us mention, you've obviously got stores in existence. You've sent us pictures of those. One of the problems that we had was previous, applicant to the south was really requesting and demanding a super high quality product. It's from an aesthetic standpoint, and I feel like they really stepped up in their efforts to do that. And so is the drawing that is the AutoCAD type that you showed us here, like that right there, is that going to be the exact same look and feel as the ones you actually have actual pictures of? Is it Outrun? Is that the brand? Is that
Yes,
motif?
very similar, although we'll probably do this as a chevron. I've kind of gone back and forth between the two. I've been doing a lot of outruns, and I've battled with the brand of it, but it's going to be a high-quality product. That area out there deserves luxury, and we plan to deliver on luxury for the development.
What about the office space there that you're proposing to develop? Is it going to have the same look, feel, architecturally, materials that the gas station is? Consistent with the look?
Yes, sir. This will be a very high-quality beautification project for us. I think, it's got to have that to be able to meet the population that we're servicing in that area. And I think it needs to maintain that. This is a development that I want to be proud of, and, I feel lucky to be a part of it. And when we get done with it, it's going to look pristine. It's going to look very good. I think it'll look much better than the drawing. Like, if I'm looking at that, and that just doesn't justify the quality that I want to do.
Mayor, I guess from our standpoint, what we tasked them with doing and what we felt like they do and what they did was create a more neighborhood-friendly commercial development. You've got a really good track record in Tuscaloosa doing some high-quality projects, we understand that. But we felt like this area deserved more of a neighborhood commercial feel to it, the sign, lower signages, less bling, less lighting, a little more architectural in your building structures. Offices really don't bother me as bad as much as anything, because you really won't be able to see those. Those are kind of toward the back. But as far as your facade on the front of your building, what we'd ask the adjacent tenant, the adjacent neighbor to do is to bring it into more of a neighborhood type commercial setting.
Yeah.
As far as quality of material, quality of project, quality of aesthetics.
I can do that. I enjoy that. That's fine. We can get creative with it. We honestly probably wouldn't have done that high-rise sign there anyway. It's probably going to be a monument sign. That looks really good.
Monument sign, good landscaping, things like that.
Yeah, I enjoy getting creative with projects and trying to add something different that is not already there. And most important fact is, you know, the delivery on Dunkin', the delivery on Domino's and the drive-through on Dunkin', and then, you know, delivering a quality product here. So realistically, it probably will be a Chevron. I've got an offer from them, and we can reflect that.
Mike, is there a layout? Back up and listen to the drive layout. Is there a civil site plan? Your thoughts on that?
So we've had one review of a submittal for a land development permit on this. And one of the comments out of that was a traffic study to evaluate the two access points that this proposes. I have not seen the traffic study. I had a phone conversation with the engineer who kind of verbalized to me the requirements that the traffic study indicated as needing left turn movements and right turn movements. So without me having an opportunity to read the full study, I'm not ready to comment whether or not this schematic shown would be what would end up being approved by our office.
You repeat that again.
I got to say all that, yeah.
Just that last.
I'm not sure it would be approved.
So I've got to have the traffic study and have an opportunity to read it. I can't comment tonight on whether or not our office would approve this exactly as it's being presented for access to New Watermelon Road. They're showing two full access intersections, left turn movements, right turn movements at both of those intersections. Gives me some pause, some concern. So I want to read what the traffic report says and have a chance to digest that.
I mean, that to me seems to be very critical here because of, I'm just thinking about that location. I love Dunkin' Donuts, by the way. You know, if I'm living north of the river and I'm coming down New Watermelon, I'm gonna zip in and grab my cup of coffee and my donut. And I'm gonna try to get back heading to town. That gives me a little bit of concern. That's a pretty high traffic area.
What's causing you, what's
Well, I
your
mean,
question?
just the standpoint, trying to left turn out of there back on New Watermelon to head to town.
What's your concern about it?
Safety, I mean, that morning rush hour.
Are you saying there's gonna be so many people up there that you're nervous about it?
No, it's coming. It's gonna be there.
Well, then I guess we need us two stores then.
Well,
I guess we need us two stores then. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, I just worry about, I talk health, safety, and welfare, and it's like, again, a morning business like Dunkin' Donuts is gonna have
I just thought it was interesting that you're worried about turning left off on the Watermelon Road up there, but, you know.
Mr. Chairman.
The question was, did we need this now? And now all of a sudden we're nervous about traffic getting there.
I'm just thinking about having two stores together. They're gonna be competing gas prices. I live up there. I'm gonna low gas prices.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Chris Centel Engineering. I can answer the question. The traffic study, I thought, and there may be some problems there always is with my email to the city anyway.
Can you
But
speak up a little?
I said, we received the traffic study on February 12th. We waited, this is the reason we waited to submit, was to get the traffic study, and we didn't want to do a traffic study in late November, early December when school's out, because it affects the traffic numbers. But I thought we had sent that to you, and I apologize if you didn't get it, but he'll get it in the morning. We used
Sorry to
Skipper,
be rude. Who are you?
Chris Centel with Centel Engineering.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my voice is going, and I
couldn't-
apologize.
I
But yeah,
couldn't-
the traffic study did warrant that, upwards of 3,100 cars per day,
How many?
3,100 per day.
31 traveled New Watermill Road?
Yeah, travel from our site north and south. Which is why we're showing the center turn lane.
You're showing the center turning lane?
Yes, we're designed a center turn lane.
So is that a street improvement?
That is a street improvement,
Outside of
yes.
Wrights Ferry Road project?
Yes,
That's
that
above
is,
and beyond Wrights Ferry?
yes,
Looks like you got a turn lane too.
which is rather extensive, I might add.
Pardon me?
I said rather extensive,
Rather extensive.
extensive and expensive.
How does that, with that, is that subdivision adjacent to your property line there?
The road right there you're looking at,
Yeah.
that's a private drive that
No,
belongs,
the north boundary line.
we tie in right before we get to that
So
development.
I guess what I'm asking is, how's that 3-lane gonna tie into that new development?
To McWright's Ferry,
No, the housing development to the north.
they didn't put a decel, ACL lane in theirs, so
They didn't?
they did not. So
So-
we're going to extend our zone, and when it starts to taper, it has to taper before we get to their intersection point.
That's I guess that's gonna be an abrupt stop with that 3-lane.
I'll let him answer that.
Okay.
I'm
Bringing
Gilbert,
in the reinforcements here.
excuse me, I'm Gilbert Centel with Centel Engineering. What we call a suicide lane or a center turn lane will start.
That's not a good word to use.
I just said, we're about health, safety, and welfare. We want suicide.
That will start at the new access, the
Show
road
me
for
where
the
you're talking
subdivision
about.
to the north.
I don't know where I'm confused. Will you show me where you're talking about?
Pardon?
Will you show me on the diagram what you're talking about?
You probably need to
Can
pull
do
up the
that?
aerial, don't you? Can you pull up,
I can point,
above
it's
it,
not,
it
you're gonna have to show
captures-
north of our diagram.
can you
here.
pull up, Leota, can you pull up all right, so,
If you go back to that drawing, I'll show her where the center turn lane is. How do you go back?
can you tighten that up a little bit?
Do you want to go back to the drawing,
I
or?
want to go back to my.
All right, let's go back to the drawing first, real quick. I
layout.
think they're gonna,
Ms. Hornsby, I'm gonna sketch it on this. This is the center turn lane.
Oh, well, okay, you meant there. I thought you.
At the north end, the transition will start for that to opening up at the
I see.
drive, that street that's being constructed now in that new subdivision to
Right.
the north of it.
So can you give us an aerial of that?
And I guess, Gilbert, that's what concerns me, how that plays into that, how you take that turning lane down at that point with that subdivision.
Well, you start the transition at that driveway.
Get
Use the microphone. Need to be able to hear you,
Microphone.
need to be able to hear you
Can't
better.
I'm gonna try to get it closer to me.
There you go.
The transition will start at the new road that goes into the new subdivision. That means you start at a normal
Staff-
two-lane road, which is 24-foot wide at that point. And then you'll probably have like 150-foot or so transition where on each side of the Watermelon Road, it'll start widening out. And once you get that 150-foot transition, so you'll widen like 6 foot on either side. So it's a small transition because you're not widening that much. So you just, and then once you get there, you'll have another, say, 150 foot for the stack lane in that turn lane to turn into this development. And that's what the traffic engineer, we use the same traffic engineer, Skipper, Darrell Skipper, who is the traffic engineer consultant for ALDOT. So, and I've been knowing Skip for a long time.
So does that subdivision not have a decel lane?
It does not. It's strictly an intersection with a 25-foot radius.
When that subdivision turns out, can they turn into the,
They come straight into the two-lane Watermelon Road.
and then it'll go back to your
Right in, right out. you know.
3-lane, you'll pass beside your,
Our three-lane will start transitioning from their driveway south.
so
So once
can northern traffic get into that turning lane?
Their traffic won't. No, their traffic will come out.
But if
and
you're,
they'll
I'm
be
coming
on-
north from the yacht club, can I get into that turning lane and turn left?
If you're going north, you won't get in the turn lane because they don't, it's a right in, so you got a widening turn lane coming in. If you're going north to get into ours, you got a deceleration lane, which is separate from the suicide lane.
If I'm coming, all right, I meant south, I'm going south.
You're going south, you'll get into the suicide or the center turn lane to turn into this development.
You really gotta quit saying the suicide lane.
Pardon?
Suicide lane is really.
That's the legal term.
It's not helping. cause.
We need to work on your political correctness.
But it's a center turn lane, but I guarantee you, if you ask AlDOT, they call it a suicide lane.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
But normally, that's when it's a continuous thing, three-lane road all the way, and you got center lane. Because people tend to get into that and stay in it, and they shouldn't.
The neighborhood we're talking about is just north of that red box right there?
Yeah, it's right there, that's correct.
That's where the big rocks thing turns.
That's a new subdivision that's under construction now.
And they've got a middle access with cul-de-sac, right in the middle of it. Houses on each side.
Yeah, it's just a cul-de-sac street that turns off of Watermelon and goes
I
in.
know we're not supposed to get in the LDP process conversation, but I think my concern is, let me ask you this from a site development standpoint. How, would it change, and if you know, how would it change if there were some changes to the ingress and egress points? Meaning, you've got two that are, one's accessing, bring it back up, please. One's accessing, appears the outrun, and you got this other one that seems to be accessing that and the office. What if they said only one entrance? Where would you put it?
Mike, pull up the previous project, civil plan. Pull up the project to the south, civil plan, site plan.
And see,
So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
There's,
Your concern is my concern as well with 3 full access intersections being added in this short distance on New Watermelon Road. The closer we get to the new intersection that's going to be created with the McWright's project, obviously that becomes a challenge as well. Again, I need to read the traffic study, and
I'm
just-
gonna have a difficult time supporting this without your blessing on the traffic study. And it feels to me like there's some other issues, what the brand is gonna be. You said you'd like it to look better than the picture that we saw, that you have other ideas about it. Just kind of feels like it's not quite.
We can't stop him from building it. He can build it.
One thing, we know what our brand is. I'm not sure the other developer does.
Knows what your what is?
Our brand,
Brand.
that's correct.
That's not full access right there. That's right in, right out. You said 3 full accesses. That's right in, right out.
No, that drawing there is showing a left, I'm almost positive they're trying to indicate a left turn, a right turn in, and a right out.
I thought that was right in my
Thought it was.
I don't
Well,
see it
mean, I
right
guess-
there.
If we're in the county, so obviously we could build it.
Right.
I think it'd benefit the city with the revenue being inside the city. There are also benefits to services of being inside the city as well. And, like I said, I'm from Vernon, 1,700 people. We have 3 convenience stores that all thrive. There's 9,000 people population out there with that zip code just for that area, based on the data I've received. It definitely supports more services needed for convenience and convenience store. The brand part, it's a negotiation. It's consistent negotiation, just like with tenants up until, it's hard for a tenant to envision a project to be able to get, the rent revenue need until they can actually see what it looks like there. So it's constant negotiations with them. I don't think that matters as much as long as it's a quality branded gas station, whether it's Chevron, Shell.
Rick, I don't think she cares about who the brand is. She cares about Mike saying it's gonna work.
Right.
In other words, about the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my primary concern.
But
And
if,
if you have to go back to the drawing board with the entry and exit, then it's kind of all up there again.
Go to their plan now. I think we've done this.
Zach, this is like the one we approved a month or two ago. If it does come into the city and we do a plan, approve it, then y'all have some say-so on design, lighting,
Look,
all that good
I
stuff.
think,
And-
number one, I think we want it in the city.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we do want it in the city because we want to be able to control it, but, I mean, I think that that's part of what we're trying to go through the process now is to vet what we need to get them to agree to go into the city, so,
Yeah.
from the standpoint of traffic.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Mark Herring, 1200 Diamond Point Circle. I'm also a partner with Rick on this. I know a lot of you know me. I've been here several times. I'm in that community. I've been in that community for 20 years. I've developed a lot of stuff up here. I've been in front of y'all, and you know my work. Peninsula subdivision, Maison du Lac subdivision, the Med Center, dermatology across from Publix, the jalapenos. Those are all, but Spa Bella V, I could go on and on. I'm vested in this community. This is a needed thing that I'm going to be a part of, especially on the architecture. You know the type of buildings that I build. And I know any of you know what the kind of work I do. I hope you do, and it's going to be top notch because I live there. I have friends there. They're my neighbors. I'm not going to skimp on anything. I want this to be nice, like everything I've done up there. So I want y'all to know that I'm a part of this construction. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
I have a comment. I mean, we know you, and I think we're all striving for the same thing. I think we got a lot of questions from traffic side.
I have some for Mike because I didn't see it on the comments.
And so I think.
I mean, I didn't.
Our goal's the same here, Mark, you know that.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think we got to figure out, are we there yet? And it sounds like we're not fully, I think here's some trepidation in some of the questions that are still out there. And I think, I don't know, feeling like we need some answers, more clarification.
Is this all about whether somebody's got to build a turn lane? Is that what this is?
Well, I think it's that, and I think it's the aesthetics of it too. That we're kind of talking about. And I have no doubt, I know both of you, I have no doubt that y'all would do it nice. I mean, both of you.
Well, I mean, we want the city to benefit from this. I mean, when we do these boat storages, people are going to stop there, they're going to get their beer, they're going to get their ice, they're going to get their snacks, they're going to gas up. That's a lot of revenue. Because, I mean, that's a lot of boats we're planning on putting back there, and they're going to go right by that station every day.
So because you've got the study, and you hadn't given it to him, he can't comment. Is that where we are?
Yeah, I thought we had submitted it to him.
Okay, so, and she can't vote for you until he says it'll work, and you hadn't given it to her, so you really need to extend it. Don't call for a vote.
And we do have, I think, 2 people that signed up for public comment. I would just want to give them a chance to talk
Sure, we
to
will.
because they are sitting through.
Of course,
before we go to a vote or anything.
Yeah, let's hear what they have to, whatever they gotta say, and that might spark a question or two.
I'll be glad
Have
to
anything
answer.
else y'all want to say or add? Let's hear them, and then you can come back up.
Not at all.
All right, who we have?
All right, first person to sign up is Mr. Alan Weldon.
Good evening, Commissioners. Alan Weldon, 4205 Midway Lane, it's in Lexington Downs. I feel like this is deja vu all over again. I was here in October opposing the last gas station that got approved. And despite what Mr. Meyer says, I can promise you there's nobody up there in that area that thinks that we need another gas station. We didn't need the first one, right? So anyway, there's a lot of differences between that last gas station proposal and this one. Mr. Plott wanted to be in the city because he said he wanted to do things right. This developer had always planned to do this in the county until either he figured out he couldn't do an on-site wastewater treatment plant or it got denied. I don't know what. I hear different things. But I think if you talk to Mr. Gardner, he would tell you, I think he's got domain over anything within a mile of the lakes. Is that right? But anyway, there's a ravine. If you look at the topography of this land, there's a ravine about where that Wizard of Paws is that runs straight into Lake Harris. So anything that overflows, anything that happens is going to go straight into that lake. All right? So I believe, unlike the last time, the logic that if we don't bring it into the city, he'll do it anyway in the county, that's not going to fly this time, right? Because he can't get a wastewater treatment plant on that land. I don't believe it'll get approved. I could be wrong, but he can speak to that when my 3 minutes is over.
Please don't dare this man. Please.
So anyway, in addition to that, and I think Councilwoman or Commissioner Prince made our case for us, right? You know, just because we did it in the past, we need to think about going forward. Mr. Pond's analysis of this correctly identified it in framework as traditional neighborhood edge. Nowhere in traditional neighborhood edge is a gas station included, right? So this property was all marked in framework as traditional neighborhood edge. So now we're going to take all the thousands of hours and money that we spent on framework and just throw it out the window and say, nah, we'll just make it commercial. That seems like a waste of the taxpayers' money. In addition, I'm not going to talk about the safety because you already have about the traffic backing up in front of the townhomes that they're being built there. So I won't talk about that anymore. There's empty retail space all over North River. So the fact that we need more office space is crazy. I mean, we've got lots of empty retail space up there. And then he's got to have the two entrances because he's got to be able to drag his boats in and out of the boat storage facility, right? Can't bring it through the gas station. So they're never going to be able to change that plan without doing something drastic. Anyway, I guess I got a minute and a half left. That's, like I said, I've talked to everybody in the neighborhood. The people, we packed this place last time, and a lot of people were really angry, right? But they felt like their voices weren't heard, that it was a predetermined outcome, and so it's hard to get people to come back when they think they're wasting their time. So I hope that you'll consider our needs rather than just the developer's needs. And despite what the developer said about his experience, he's got limited commercial experience. There's only a few commercial places he's developed. So anyway, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, next person signed up is Mr. Joe Van Hest.
East.
Sorry.
Good evening. I'm Joseph Van Heest. I live at 5241 Midway Circle, which is in Lexington Downs. I wanted to talk a little bit about not only increased traffic, but the quiet of the neighborhood. People live out on the other side of the dam because it is quiet, because it's not very commercialized. what Mr. Hearing mentioned about the nice places he's put up, Spell, Belle Vie, and Jalapenos, those are all fine, and people like them, and they're on the other side of the dam from where all these other neighborhoods are, McWright's Ferry, Lexington Downs, all the yacht club, all of that area. And I think that we need to, you know, we bought these houses for that reason. We like the quiet of the neighborhood. So what comes with this second project, maybe 100 yards or so from the other gas station that you approved? I'm not going to repeat what Alan said, but he talked about how there's a difference between this situation and that one. Hunter was going to build his place regardless of whether it was annexed into the city or not, and that may be a different issue here. But Mr. Mayers talked about, you know, when he put the rendering together, it said Outrun. It didn't say Chevron, it said Outrun. Getting a little heat, all of a sudden now it's Chevron or maybe Shell, nothing about Outrun. But he was still pretty solid on Dunkin' Donuts and Domino's. So I checked in Tuscaloosa, and Dunkin' Donuts in Tuscaloosa is open 7 days a week from Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that early morning crowd going into Dunkin' Donuts is going to increase rush hour traffic, which with the McWright's Ferry Extension project is supposed to get better. We don't need a bunch of things to now make it get worse again and undo all that the extension project is supposed to be doing. But again, it'll be open very early in the morning. The convenience store would likely be open 24/7. And Domino's in Tuscaloosa is open from 10:30 in the morning till 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 10:30 a.m. till 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. So you're going to have cars coming and going all night long, all the way into the same time that the bars close, basically, down on the strip.
But it's quiet out there, right?
I'm sorry?
But it's quiet out there.
It is now. It won't be, is what I'm saying. When you start increasing when you start increasing that traffic and it's quiet now, but all of a sudden you're going to have.
You mean
cars
people?
coming.
You mean people are going to build houses out there and need? Are you saying people are going to build houses out there, or are you saying people are going to drive out there?
People are going to drive out there. People already have built houses out there, but people are going to be driving out there. And again, with Domino's, you can have somebody bring it to your car, you can drive through, you can DoorDash. The same with Dunkin', you can DoorDash. So you're going to have an increase in traffic coming through. You got to drive through lanes. You're going to have a buildup of people sitting in traffic. It will make it louder. It will make it more polluted. It will make it more trafficky in a time when we're already trying to get to reduce the traffic problems we have in that neighborhood. So in particular, those two places will, without even getting into the convenience store, will be increasing the noise, the traffic. It won't have anything to do with, people aren't going to build a house out there because there's a Dunkin' Donuts or a Domino's.
You're saying that people are going to drive across the dam for Dunkin' Donuts and Domino's.
If it's there, people will DoorDash or Uber Eats drivers will come out there, yes. So, I mean, you've got a lot of people buying their food that way nowadays. So yes, they'll have that, and they'll have people within the neighborhood driving out there who wouldn't normally do that. Or you'll have delivery people driving from Domino's to somebody's house, and it won't necessarily be on this side of the dam. It would likely be on the other side of the dam. Also, apparently the boat storage is coming, but boat storage plus picking up your ice, plus picking up your beer, plus moving your boat slowly onto that busy road, a whole slew of them coming out will also increase traffic. And again, we don't have the results of a traffic study at this point, but anything that's being done to alleviate the traffic in that neighborhood, and particularly in Lexington Downs, in north of the river area there, will be undone to some extent by a second gas station on the same side of the street, 100 yards away. I see my time is up. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Van Hees.
Thank you.
Anyone else sign up to speak?
No else signed up.
Anyone else care to speak in opposition of this before I allow the petitioner to come back up?
Mr. Chairman, let me say a couple of things that the two gentlemen spoke. I mean, number one of the gentlemen said that we have a predetermined outcome out here. As far as I know, I don't have a predetermined. I'm here by the grace of my heart to be here to try to do what's right with the city. So, me for one didn't have a predetermined outcome. Anybody else?
I appreciate that.
Number two, it was number two. Excuse me.
Well, it's a mistaken perception.
Number two said many people were angry. Many residents were angry. Well, I'm sorry the residents were angry at us. I mean, all we do is come up here for free, twice a month, look you in the eye and try to make the right decision for the citizens of Tuscaloosa. That particular instance, the project was in the county. We elected to be able to control that project, it coming into the city. That owner could put, as far as I know, put chicken houses, put horse ranch on it, put a llama farm, put a petting zoo, monkeys on it, something. He can do whatever he wants to, it's in the county. But with us doing what we're doing, we're able to control these things, and that's what we elected to do. So, and if either one of you think that the city is spending $55 million on a McWright's Ferry Road project and it's not going to increase that traffic on that road, y'all need to get a reality check. That's all I have to say.
It's gonna grow. There are gonna be houses built out there, and it's gonna grow. And that's why these people, these developers, and by the way, they're all very, very wealthy people, not because they're stupid, because they know they're gonna build houses.
Hey, guys, I get it. I live up there. Do I want the plot development me to drive past? No. Do I want this one to drive past? I like it quiet too, but it's coming. And the city, and it's coming, and the city needs to be able to control it. That's what we're trying to do up here.
Well, you got a framework that says it should be a traditional neighborhood.
All right, let's keep it to the petitioner has a chance to reply to some of
I
it.
do. I want to reply to a few things. Well, I won't keep you long. Thank you. First, I think there's a misunderstanding, and I've seen several of the emails that he sent out to the Lexington Downs people, but that we cannot build in the county is the reason we're up here. I don't even know where that come from, but I want to make sure that they understand that we can build this in the county. There is nothing saying that we cannot build this. The county did not say this, and we can put a sewer system there and build this. We choose to go to the city. We want the city to have the revenues. We want y'all to guide us through this. We want it to be a project that everybody's happy with and at a level that everybody's happy with. That's why we want it to go in the city. It has nothing to do with the county not letting us do it, because we all know that if we want to do it, we can. And I want to make sure he understands that, because I don't think he was clear on that. As far as saying that I haven't built, half the things that I've discussed up here were commercial projects in the 06. There's more than a few. But anyway, do you have any questions for me?
So the two issues at hand here that I think this commission has is, number one, is the aesthetics.
Yes.
The building. And I get it. We know y'all. We know you're going to do great work and do great things. I personally would like to see it. I personally would like to see the exact standards that you're going to take it to. I personally would like to see the landscaping, the drives, the signage. I don't necessarily have to have a brand. I don't think that that's important. But I want to kind of understand that y'all are doing it in keeping with that area. I think that's the one thing that this commission can protect. I think that's one of our jobs that we have here. I think that there's, in Mr. Herron, I think, to be honest with you, that's minor compared to figuring out this street stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And without Mike, without us understanding that Mike has a good comfort zone, especially compounded by the fact with the development that was, and I hate to penalize y'all because of the development that was approved before you, but y'all are kind of getting penalized because they got there first and they got some access points.
We submitted before he did.
Again, I don't know how all that worked. I'm gonna blame somebody else on that.
The city knows that. But we wanted to make sure we had our leases in place.
At any rate, and maybe, I mean, their LDP isn't in place yet either.
Right.
I mean, they haven't submitted their LDP. And so maybe there may be some synergies here.
Right.
Look, I know that there's probably not the greatest agreement out there because you're gonna be competing with each other. I understand that. And I know time's money. and we can call for a vote right now, but with these two items out there, I think these can be settled if you look at
I completely understand. I'm caught off guard with Mike, because I thought you had traffic study too, because it wasn't on the comments. Usually when you have a problem, it'll be on the comments, hey, I haven't seen the traffic study. And that wasn't on there, so therefore I was sort of caught off guard with that.
I guess I'll apologize. I've never made comments on annexations and rezonings before. It's just been on subdivision plans and things of that nature. And I did make the comment for the traffic study when we reviewed the LDP application, but I apologize. I did not think to make a comment on an annexation and a rezoning request about a traffic study.
That's okay, Mike, just don't ever let it happen again.
I was just surprised. I really was, because I didn't think that was a question anymore.
Again, that's my opinion, that's where I'm at.
Got you.
And let the rest of the commission.
I can't say any more than he said there. I think that's kind of where we all are kind of landing. And so,
Yeah, I think we can clean it up, get with Mike, get that cleaned up on the road, and do something better on the aesthetics so you can see exactly what I want to do,
so
instead of the CAD system.
That being said, are you requesting a continuance?
I think we should.
Yeah, obviously, with capitalistic mindset that we have, we're not going to put a trailer park right next to a White House. We're not going to give somebody competitive advantages over us, whether it's visually or conveniently. But I would like to understand exactly what you're wanting from the beautification side of it, so that we can deliver and get the vote. And I guess I need to understand too, working with Mike, exactly what we need to be able to provide to get the traffic flow correctly.
So let me answer the first part, and then I'll let Mike answer the second. I'd like to see a rendering of exactly what you're going to put there with the type materials you're going to use. I'd like to see the signage that you talked about doing, like a monument sign. That's important in that area. I'd like to see something that shows something landscaping that meets the city requirements and goes above and beyond, and how you're going to address that. Building materials, types of things, aesthetics. Think about neighborhood commercial as you go through this. That's from the aesthetics. I think that's what this commission's looking for. Mike can talk to you about the access.
So my responsibility is public safety and uniform growth, or whatever terminology you want to use. Very proactive for new development. Encourage everybody to, become a part of the city. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that the proposed accesses and the proposed improvements are in the best interest of the city. Like Tim said, we're spending in excess of $60 million to create a new way to get across or get to Jack Warner Parkway. And we hope and encourage that it's going to improve the traffic flow across the dam. There'll be less people that need to go across the dam, but we've also got to look at what's going to happen north of this new intersection we're going to create. We expect there to be more growth in this area of more homes that are going to end up supporting these proposed businesses. I don't know what else to say, but other than, I just need to have the ability to look through this report, maybe talk to the traffic engineer, make sure I fully understand the entire concept that they're proposing.
Mr. Myers, does that kind of clarify what you need to move forward in?
Yeah, that's no problem. I mean, we can get this done. We can get the renderings corrected and show idealistically exactly what we've looked to make happen here. We're always going to, strive to meet city code and go above that.
Well, just know that if you ask for continuance, if you do it next month, it's fine. This Vice Chair and I will see this prior to the next month's meeting. So we'll get another bite at the apple before we come back before us. So hopefully between what you just heard, working with Mike, we can give you some feedback on even then what you submit to kind of tell you if you're hitting the right mark.
Yeah.
So, That's our goal too, so.
I got you.
Be aware of that.
I got you. That's no problem. I got a bulldog on my team over here, so I gotta walk out of here. There ain't gonna be no industry for me. He's gonna have me in the lab barking.
All right, so I need a formal request from the Bulldog or you, whoever wants to make the call.
We'll do a continuance.
Come on up and make the formal request that you're asking for a continuance in.
Make a formal request for a continuance next month.
Thank you very much. All right, Commission, before us, we have a continuance request. First, we'll do the annexation 0525. Annexation request has been continued. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Continuance request for ZO 825 North River Crossings LLC. Do I have a continuance request for that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Case continued.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
All right, maybe we should give folks a second here.
Did the right thing. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Gentlemen, can y'all take that meeting outside, please? Thank you.
All right, let's move into our preliminary plats. First up, we have S2525. This is a resurvey of Lot 41 and 42, Block B, Moton Court subdivision. This is consisting of one lot on approximately .16 acres located at 3324 and 3326 20th Street, Council District 1. Mr. Pons, could you click the computer, please? You can see here, we're located right next to Stillman College, and zooming in on that parcel today is vacant. You can see this is a lot consolidation here, just removing that middle lot line you can see. We do have 2 variance requests. We received no public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering?
No issues.
Petitioner?
Y'all can't throw anything at me on this one. This is just
Wait a
moving.
minute.
I know. There's just an interior lot line. We're moving all the roads and infrastructures in place on this one. I think they're gonna build one house on it.
Thank you. Any questions for a petitioner? Anyone in the audience care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none, Commission, before us, we have S2525. It's a variance request too, I believe. Engineering has no issues with.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Hornsby?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
Sorry.
All right, next up we have S2625, resurvey of part of lot 42 and 48 Hilltop Estates number 2 subdivision. This is a reconfiguration of 2 lots on approximately 2.6 acres located at 11339 and 11353 Peak Drive. This is not in city limits. You can see we're north here by Tiers Patton Road. You can see that property today, 2 lots, and as we move in here, you can see they're just shifting this lot line slightly east, west, north. I'm losing my directions here. We have 2 variance requests for this. We did not receive any public comments. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering on the variance request.
No issues.
Petitioner?
We're just adjusting the lot line to accommodate a garage. is
Thank you,
all.
Mr. McGuire. Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request?
Whereas on that easy money.
Yeah, right. Having heard none, we have a motion and a second for S2625, 2 variance request. Engineering has no issues with.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Rumsey?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Hornsby?
Yes.
Yes, motion approved. My ends are sleeping on me.
All right, next up we have S2725, resurvey of south half of Lot 3, Block 352, Van de Graaff subdivision. This is consisting of 1 lot on approximately .09 acres located at 2706 and 2708 Short 17th Street, Council District 1. You can see we're near West Lawn Middle School here. And zooming on that lot today is vacant. You can see again a lot consolidation, removing that middle lot line, creating one lot. And we have 3 variance requests. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering,
No issues.
petitioner. Man, Mike's been busy.
Members of the board, I'm Michael McGuire. Is same thing, we're just removing the interior lot line. I did want to point out sanitary sewer. Right now, we have not found a sewer lateral, so we've got to get something worked out with Mr. Gardner. So we would ask for y'all's approval, subject to us getting that worked out with him.
Mike, you okay with that?
I am. Don't know what the answer is yet, but it might possibly involve an easement on the lot or something like that, but
Thank you. Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard it, I have a motion and a second for S 2725 with 3 variance requests. Anyone has no issues with?
I move we approve?
Ms. Hornsby?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
First time you've had 3 in a row in a long time, Mike.
He's running out of here.
Yeah, he sure is, isn't he?
All right, next up we have S 3125, resurvey of lots 9 through 12 and part of lot 13, block 13 of Holton Heights. This consisting of 3 lots on approximately 0.63 acres located at 1603 and 1607 Crescent Ridge Road Northeast. This is not in city limits. You can see we're far north on Crescent Ridge Road here near Jack Warner. You can see that property today. It does have some existing structures on there. You can see they're proposing 3 lot lines. They have several remnant lot lines running through the property. And there's that plat without contours. We have 3 variance requests. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering? On 3 variance requests?
go back to the picture. No, I'm okay with them.
Great, thank you. Petitioner?
Robert McPherson, 4121 Vassy Drive, private practice surveyor. I'm here on behalf of Thomas Barnett. He and his wife are getting a divorce, and the house is part of the settlement, and they are dividing it up to get rid of the house.
Any question for petitioner? Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none, Commissioner Flores, we have.
Chairman.
Oh,
I knew I was partially confused. The variance for right-of-way dedication is only on Crescent. He is proposing to dedicate 5 feet of right-of-way on 16th Street. So for clarity, the right-of-way dedication variance is just for the frontage along Crescent Ridge Road.
Jimbo, is there any legal reason? Okay, thank you. Or was it? Anyone care to speak for or against? All right, having heard none. Commissioner, we have S 3125, the resurvey of Holton Heights. 3 variance requests, no issues with engineering. We have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Rumsey?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have S 3225, Allen's addition to 18th Place. This is a resurvey of parts of lots 4 and 5, Moton Court number 2, consisting of 1 lot on approximately 0.14 acres, located at and around 3371 18th Place, Council District 1. You can see again, we're near Stillman College here. You can see there is a structure there today. This is again a lot consolidation, removing that middle lot line, creating 1 lot. Here's that plat without contours. We have 2 variance requests. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering?
No issues.
Petitioner?
Kevin Hinkle, Montgomery and Hinkle Inc., Professional Land Surveyors, 203 Hargrove Road East, representing Mr. Allen. He has 2 30-foot lots combining into 1 single lot. He had moved that accessory building onto the property and he found out that it was only partially on his property, and he's in the process of moving it inside the minimum building lines. We've marked the boundary lines and the minimum building lines, so he knows where to move the building. Any other questions?
Good there. Any questions for petitioner? Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none, Commissioner, for we have S 3225 Alice Edition, 18th Place. Two variance requests, engineering has no issues with. Have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hornsby?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
All right, next up, S 3325, Ships Addition to Alberta City, a resurvey of lots 91 and 92, and lots 162 through 164, Warrior Addition of Tuscaloosa. This is consisting of one lot on approximately 0.25 acres located at 2237 4th Place East and 420 23rd Avenue East, Council District 5. You can see we're right near the tennis center. Zooming in there today, you can see there's multiple lot lines running through this property. They're creating one lot here. And looking at that plat without contours. And just to zoom in a little bit to add some clarity, you can see there's 3 existing parcels in that northern part, 2 in the south, and just consolidating this all into one lot. We do have 1 variance request. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering on the sidewalk construction.
No issues.
Petitioner?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Marty Montgomery, Hinkle Land Surveying, representing Irvin Bishop Jr. in this project. Just wants to remove the interior lot lines, create one lot.
Any questions for petitioner? Anyone care to speak for or against this petition request? Having heard none, Commissioner for S 3325, Ships Addition to Alberta City, 1 variance request, sidewalk construction, engineering has no issues with. Have a motion and a second.
Motion, second.
Mr. Rumsey?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
All right, our final preliminary plat tonight, that's S 3425, Van de Graaff Section 2, a resurvey of part of Van de Graaff's subdivision consisting of 2 lots on approximately 1.06 acres located at 2625 through 2631 Short 17th Street and 2632 through 2638 18th Street. This is Council District 1. You can see that property here. We're just west of 359 near the Piggly Wiggly. You can see the properties today. There are some existing structures, but mostly vacant. You can see those 2 proposed lots here, leaving out, if you notice, these are existing lots here that are not included in this. We're looking at Lot 1 and Lot 2 here, and here's that plat without contours. We do have 2 variance requests. We did not receive any public comment. Do you have any questions for staff?
Engineering?
No issues.
Petitioner?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Marty Montgomery, Hinkle Land Surveying, representing James Bearden and Greg Howell in this 2-lot subdivision. What they're wanting to do is James Bearden owns the property to the north, which would be at Lot 2, and he's buying out what Greg Howell owns of that part. And I think they can swap some other properties for that, just so they can tidy that up a little bit.
Any questions for a petitioner? Anyone care to speak for or against? Commissioner, for we have S 3425, the Van de Graaff section, 2 variance requests. Engineering has no issues with it. Have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hornsby?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion approved.
All right, we got a zoning ordinance update for you guys. So this is something that was not translated from our drafts to our final within the zoning code update. So we wanted to bring that forward and kind of get that fixed here. So this is in section 25-101. This is regarding, all of these are regarding drive-throughs related to whether or not that's banks, convenience stores, restaurants. So in 25-101, you can see here, and I've got it in front of you as well, in paper form, just easier. Existing, it lists and specifies drive-throughs as an accessory use. We want to remove that and just put it under that accessory use because, as you can see here, we identify drive-throughs as an accessory use, and so it should really be posted there. So that's that one change, and I'll get a little bit more detail of that here in a second. But another update is we want to add permitted to the drive-through facility sections here for IP, ISP, D, DP, DAG, LC, UC, and NC districts. So these are just, neighborhood commercial. If you want to have a drive-through coffee shop, if it's appropriate there, that should be something that we could look at and permit.
It's got to be a
banks.
permitted part of that zoning.
Right, yes, sir,
It's
yeah.
a separate.
So this would be accessory to a bank or something like that, yeah. So we would then go to that. And then this is that area where, so for each of these items, we have use-specific standards. So drive-through facility is permitted, but you also have to do these things, right? And so we moved that quick service restaurant drive-through information to this section, as you'll see. So 1 and 2 under drive-through facility is gonna remain. And then we're adding number 3, which states in association with quick service restaurant. And then what that says is, except for property located between or directly adjacent, we want to add directly adjacent to Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard, north and south, or directly adjacent to 15th Street. And I'll show you an example of that. So you can see here, dark red at the top is downtown, south is downtown perimeter. So it's prohibited in those areas except between the Lurleens or adjacent to the Lurleens. So that means the McDonald's, the Burger King, KFC, but also Taco Bell. Those are appropriate. However, you don't want to have a Taco Bell in the middle of, 4th Street or something like that. So that's kind of what we're going for there. The second part of that quick service restaurant portion is in the UC district, so University Commercial District, only permitting them on property, only permitting drive-throughs as an accessory use to a quick service restaurant on property not located in this area.
Not bounded.
Right. So essentially, we want to keep quick service restaurants out of this very dense walkable strip.
You're saying the area bounded by, not bounded.
Yeah, drive-through as an accessory is permitted except for property located in this area, bounded by Queen City on the north, or on the west, Jack Warner on the north, Hackberry on the east, and 12th on the south. So you can see all of this red here.
This is kind of bass backwards, Zach.
No, trust me, we had to go through all these renditions to try and make this work, and because the idea behind this, so why we're doing this, is there are areas zoned UC that are appropriate for drive-through restaurants. So instead of just doing a blanket UC cannot allow for drive-through restaurants, we've got UC zoning adjacent to Stillman off of Culver Road and Stillman Boulevard. We've got UC actually over here where Jack's and Arby's is. So clearly there are some locations that should allow for quick service restaurants. However, we don't want to allow them in the strip area.
I'm just going to trust you on this.
Yeah.
Where is Queen City on here? I mean,
Queen City is the pink one. So the boundaries would be essentially there, and then Jack Warner up here, and Hackberry.
okay. Queen City.
Are you saying you don't want to
Jack
have
Warner.
fast food in the box? Is that what you're saying, or are you?
So you can have fast food, like we have Taco Bell or Chipotle down, on the strip, just no drive-through.
No drive-through.
Right. So drive-through as an accessory use to those types of uses would be prohibited in that area.
Yeah. And where's Hackberry?
You said something
Tim?
about 15th Street.
Far right.
Starbucks
yeah,
will
far
have
right.
one, right?
Right.
What about,
Won't that push more people to want to have them down through there? We almost need to look at Freddy's. You ever been to Freddy's?
I have not, but I heard it's really good.
Freddy's has a next door neighbor that has a wooden fence. they're drive-through crossing an alley, you can't see it because of the wooden fence, somebody's gonna get run over.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be anybody's fault, I mean, it's just gonna be one of those things. Pretty good.
We'll look at that.
You get out.
I don't know.
Common people.
Figured somebody, I mean,
Hey, Zach, your little dot there, was that, you said that was Arby's and?
Yes, yeah, so like,
So they're not, they'd be, they're grandfathered in.
they would be permitted outside of this area. So this area would not allow them, but
Right.
Jack's and Arby's and all
Okay,
that
all
are
right.
over here.
I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
they were not, they'd be non-conforming.
Right,
They're
So
on the other side.
this doesn't allow drive-through daiquiris, right?
yeah. When we get those, we'll come back with a code amendment change. Allow those everywhere. So there's that. So we do need a vote to recommend that to move forward if y'all are
That'd be
comfortable
just
with
a
those
voice
changes.
vote. Jimbo, aye, nay. All right.
hold on a minute, so we're saying, come heck or high water, we're not gonna allow anybody to have a drive-through in the box.
You could ask for a variance to allow it.
Mr. One by right.
Yeah, just not by right. For a quick service restaurant, the banks and things like that that exist today are still allowed.
No drive-through. So,
CVS
Just
is
think
allowed.
restaurants, just think food.
Just think, yeah, Taco Bell drive-through. The whole idea is, you want this to be walkable. You don't want everyone to just have to get in their car in order to drive through to get Taco Bell, when you can just walk to the strip and walk into the door and get Taco Bell.
so we're making, so we just created a windfall for everybody 6 feet outside that spot.
No, it already exists that way outside.
There's really not anybody in there now that does it.
It's not changed, yeah,
It's
and
just
there's none that
protected.
would be affected today.
Nobody's gonna be negatively
In
impacted.
other words, Starbucks will never have anybody compete with them, so they're right off, they're right across from the campus, so they'll get run over.
How much they charge? They don't have any competition now.
Yet.
No, is that something that we can think about? I mean, go ahead and vote. I guess I'm gonna no. I mean, I
Well,
just
we
like to
can-
think, I'd like to think about it. I just think that, how long have we had? Did you just give it to us, or did I miss an email?
So we had it a little bit prior to this meeting.
I just
Sent it out.
feel like that's something I'd like to, I mean, I can vote no and y'all can all vote yes, that's fine.
Well, what we could do,
There's winners and losers, I just like to think.
Well, to me, in this area, this is kind of, like, especially right here, it's very congested. Like, I would never drive through the Starbucks that's close to Tutwiler, because you'd be in, I mean, it's just crazy.
But
Now, the
they've got-
Starbucks that's
Yeah.
outside this box, which is still on University Boulevard.
right, and that's a
mean-
university commercial, and it is
Yeah, I
allowed
mean,
for this zoning.
It's more wide open. I mean, I can't afford Starbucks coffee, so I don't ever buy it. And I don't really
And
necessarily
just to
think it's anything
clarify,
better
this is
than what I
not,
make in my
this is
personal
not affecting anyone that currently exists.
I know, but
Yeah.
but you just said something else that is very interesting. University can buy any piece of property they want, and we can't stop them from doing whatever they want.
Look,
Yeah.
They buy a parcel, they put their own drive-through in, because our laws and rules have no bearing over it. So I just want, I mean, do we really want to put ourselves at complete competitive disadvantage to anybody? I don't know. I'm not, you're saying you can ask for a variance. I'm trying to think if we'd ever grant one. Maybe we would.
I think it would be hard
I think it'd be a challenge,
to grant.
based on the area we're defining.
Yeah.
But I'd like to,
Limit what's there.
I'd like to look at a map, I'm gonna look at a map,
We do have time,
Look at a
y'all can
map.
do a vote, and then we can discuss outside of this meeting, you and I, of maybe some concerns that you might have, and then you can bring that forward to council too.
I mean,
So it doesn't get stalled here.
Okay.
And if any amendments need to happen between now and council, we can,
So what brought it, usually something like this, something's bringing it. We're worried about something, or something just happened that we didn't see.
so, one kind of example is University Commercial over by Stillman Boulevard, right? So we've identified, because Stillman is a university, we wanted to have that university commercial component over there. We didn't take into account, it's right off of Stillman Boulevard, right off of Culver Road. That's a great location if someone wanted to put a Sonic or something like that at that location. I'm not saying that that's coming or there's any word of anything going on in those areas. I'm just saying that, you know, it was something that,
Are you saying,
It was
that our rules and regulations stop the drive-through and that's got,
it would,
potentially
yeah.
could have held up?
And we don't want it. No. No, nothing is held up in this situation. This is just getting something from an unintended consequence of what the draft was to the final. There was a loss in translation there when we were working with the UC district primarily to get it to this point, and this is that end result to just kind of clean that up. Like Jack's down by the practice field, things like that, those are not affected by this.
But if
they
Jack's
would
were-
be if we didn't.
But if Jacks were applying today, could they do it?
Yes.
They could.
Yes, with this change, they could.
Okay.
Right, yeah. With this change, they could. The Starbucks, the Arby's, the Jack's over on University, all of that could with this change. Right,
And what?
They're not affected. The bounding is what protects them.
right.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
So, I'm so sorry, I know
Yeah.
everybody's ready, but, so that Jack's is on Hackberry Lane?
Yes, right here.
Okay, so.
Where is it? Okay.
East of.
That's
So-
not Hackberry.
Oh, my bad.
That's Hackberry
No,
right
it's
there.
right here. That's where it is. And so 12th is right here, which is the boundary.
All right, but I thought Hackberry is the boundary on the east.
Right.
Well, they can't build been here, so.
Well, that's what I'm
if-
at- that's
if
what I'm-
Jack's-
Build in
If
this
Jack's
area.
was applying a year from now to be, if they weren't where they were already, and they were applying a year from now to be there, I'm reading this, and maybe I've totally misinterpreted, that they can't.
No, so this area, they could not build in.
They can't what?
They could not do a drive-through in that area.
Are they not, isn't that where they
They're not in
are?
that area, they're just south of it. They're outside of the boundary.
Oh, okay, okay,
Well,
I'm
well,
sorry, I
that's what-
didn't
So we've
realize
really
that
taken
was
into
12.
account what
Okay.
exists today
Okay.
in order to make sure that things like that aren't
Yeah,
happening.
but you also created a situation where his franchise value just went way up over your vote. Because nobody can move in next door to him and do it.
But this is what it was previous to frame. We're essentially going back to making it, we've made it more difficult with our code update unintentionally, right? We want to go back to what we were allowing previously.
Okay, so,
So right now, we are not allowing a lot of these places that would have been able to come in prior to framework. That did come in, the Jack's, the university commercial fast food restaurants. We are accidentally taking them out of being able to be built.
maybe I've got it backwards. See, I have in my mind that you're not allowing it. You're saying that you're not allowing it in a specific box.
Right.
And
That,
But permitting it in others.
I mean, if someone moves south of Jack's, they could, right?
right.
But if they move north, if they wanted to do it north, one lot, they couldn't.
Right, if they're zoned university commercial.
Are there, besides the Starbucks next to Towal, are there any other,
Which
which
No.
ones? There's none right now. So just envision that there's no place for it to be one unless we had a total demo of something.
Yeah.
There's no vacant.
But that's how we have it today in the DROD,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
And so we're just kind of transitioning that into a boundary that the DRD kind of was in the past.
All right.
Okay. Anybody to get spot, or we need to, like you said, we can vote no and then just get with you later before it goes to council. If
Yeah.
somebody wanted to vote no.
We'd want to, vote yes or no.
You want to move it on.
We'd probably want a recommendation. They're going to take your recommendation into consideration.
Everybody
So
good spot, or do we need?
If you have further questions, let's get them asked.
Let's take a vote, and then if you have a no, then you can take it up with Zach.
Yeah.
Fair?
I will gladly walk you through this. Me and you.
All right. Commission, before us, we have a zoning update request per staff recommendation. If you've seen all this, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes
All
have
right.
it.
All right, and then I also have the rules of transaction of business in front of you guys. There's a red line. This is really just changing what was changed with framework. So as you read that, you can see, it talks about planned unit developments, things like that we just want to change to GPD. So there's nothing that's of substance that's going to affect any way that we've been operating in the past or in the future. It's just getting the wording correct. And so that needs to go through and,
So I disagree with striking out the word 90.
yeah.
Where?
Actually, I tried to
Page
do.
7.
So
I think
as I
it
was
needs
doing
both.
this, I was also kind of cleaning up some of that stuff.
Legal mind.
Nina's been jumping on that
I
one.
bet she was. She's on. She's dialed in.
Well, I just
Got her
wanted
markers
to
up.
make sure I didn't miss anything. I know
right.
it, y'all.
Any questions of the commission about these rules of transaction of business? Having heard none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank God we are adjourned.